Hello, how is everyone doing today? I am getting ready to do some glazing. Uh, so yeah, here at the very initial stages of me planning what to glaze colors, what glaze colors to use, and yeah, so I do have my list of orders out here. Hello, hello everyone. Thank you for joining in. Uh, Today is glazing day, so it's in the studio, and I am glazing mugs, lots and lots of mugs. Most of them are for orders. Um, one, two, three, blue, one gray, and then two purple, and then two gray purples. I'm my own crazy coding system. You're at work, don't tell your boss. Alright. It's just watching somebody work too. So, if I'm giving you company at your work while you work, it's all good. No worries there. So I'm done with that. I need to make some coffee mugs. So that would be three. These two need to do in purple. I need to do some jumbo knit mugs. Two honey. Two green. So on Instagram, you're wondering what I'm mumbling about. I'm actually uh, marking what glazes I need to put on all the different mugs. One, two. Oh, so that's got to be three. That's three. Okay. So yeah, I'm just basically marking what glaze needs to go on all the mugs, and so when I'm ready to glaze, I can just go ahead and glaze everything. But also I need to decorate a few pieces and do some washes on the lace mugs especially, so that's there. um, okay, so that is done. I need to do embroidery mugs. uh, One honey, so that in honey. Let's do two in blue and one in green. Okay. Lace yarn balls, do it in blue, and let's do one in green. So if you have a request on what color do you want a particular piece to be, some pieces are spoken for. I do have a few knit mugs. I think maybe one, two, three, 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 four extra knit mugs, which I'm just glazing in the same color as per order, so I'll have at least one extra. But if there is any particular one that you need, I can glaze it in that color. Now is the time to speak. Otherwise, you have to wait for the 3 week turnaround time at least. That's the current turnaround time for them. But okay, small yarn balls, blue, green, honey, purple. So blue, green, honey, and I have a big platter out here, which I think I'm going to do in the green color this time. Okay, so we got that. That is going to be in blue and purple. All right, I think everything. Okay, lace mugs, big jumbo lace mugs. Anyone want to suggest what colors to do them in? These are these massive 20-ounce mugs, jumbo size. Uh, I I know I could fit it in the kiln, so I would rather glaze it in something and put it in the kiln. And I have three of them. Uh, and currently, I don't have any in stock, and there wasn't a pending order for them. I have only three, so I could do them in any glaze. If anyone wants a particular color, I could do that, or I'm just going to randomly pick three different colors and glaze them in those three colors, and they would be listed in the shop, ready to ship when the kiln unloads. So let's see. Since no one is answering, I'm going to take my own guesses. I'm going to do one in purple because that's always popular. I'll do one in green and one in blue. Blue, green, and purple. I won't do honey this time. I won't do gray either. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully, because I think the lace looks nice in those colors. I do need to put wax resist on two pieces, which usually I'm pretty good about doing as soon as the pieces come out of the kiln. But these two pieces, for some reason, I ignored it. And these are the long olive trays for serving olives or any kind of appetizers when you are hosting people, which nobody is these days. So what you can do, you can just put olives in them and have it yourself. Treat yourself. Just going to put some wax resist on this. The red one is going to get this red one, it's going to get the honey and yellow glaze on it, and the blue one is going to get the the black one is going to get the blue glaze on it. That is what the plan is. So if you are watching on Instagram, just to let you know, you can get better views of what I'm doing if you watch on YouTube or Facebook. It's the same live feed, but it has different camera angles and two different camera angles. One which you can look at me face to face and we can talk, and the other is an overview camera, which lets you see my entire table filled with pots that's getting glazed. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you think my items are beautiful. And they look even better once they're glazed and it has all the color on them. So let me just wash this up. And don't want to leave wax resist on the brush because it just stiffens up the brush and then I have to toss it away. Not that these brushes are expensive, they don't last me very long anyway, but if I don't wash them, then they are good enough to throw right away, which we definitely don't want. So I've got that. Let's have enough of the blue wash. I don't have blue wash. I barely have any red wash. do have some purple wash. Okay, let's get some water. So, will you ever make the hamza again? Yes, actually, I am making. I've got so the person who I made that hamza for, uh, they have custom ordered two more. So I'm going to be making two more for them. And there is one person on my Patreon page who requested one as well. So I'm going to be making one for them. So far I'm making three. And so if you need one, let me know now because I'm going to start working on them uh, this week, towards the end of this week. Today is what? Wednesday. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, I'm going to start working on them so I can make another one for you. They are kind of slightly smaller than the size of my hand. They're probably around that big, and they are $80 each. And it's not gonna be like a regular item I make and have it listed in my shop or anything. That's not what the plan is. This kind of started off as a custom order, and I'm doing it. And because the same person requested me to make more, because her sister liked it, and her sister wants it, and her sister's friend wants one. So that's the main reason. And then the Patreon member also requested one. So that's the reason why I'm making them. Uh, it's not going to be a regular item I carry. So uh, custom requests I will take on them. And the reason why they are priced high, they are a lot of work for one thing, and it's uh, it's not something I can just make multiple of, and then it doesn't help. It's not like a production item which I can make multiple of and be like, oh, if I don't sell here, I can sell somewhere else. It's not a regular item I carry. I'll be making only the number that are ordered, and hopefully they all survive. If they don't, I'll be making another one for you so that you have one. But I'm not making like multiple items of those. I'm just making what I have orders for. So if you need one, let me know or send me a DM, and I can put that, and I can do different colors in them as well. So that is always a possibility. So I need to make some glaze washes. I think I'm gonna use some blue. Some blue. Yeah, I'm almost running out of the blue. And I need red. Do I need a red wash? I need a red wash. I don't. I think a blue wash is all I need today. And I need blue and purple. I think that should be good. So only if I could open this bottle. I need to wet it out, I think. Okay, finally. And there isn't so much of that either. What's going on here? I need to figure out how to order more of these underglazes. I think I have another full bottle lying around. So when I do washes, like on my lace mugs and some of the embroidery pieces, um, there is no real recipe I like to follow. It's more like instinct. I mix up a few different, like for my blue wash, I'll mix up some blue underglazes, and I kind of have a feel of what I want it to look like. So put some royal blue in it. And what happens with that is every piece lands up being unique, and that's what I like. So I just want to check. Is somebody on Facebook? Uh, can you send a message, because I think I'm having that trouble again where the Facebook messages are probably not getting relayed. I just want to be sure. So I'm just gonna log on separately on Facebook and see if that's the case. Okay, let me go to my page. Hold on for just a second. There might be this whole list of messages, or there might be none. I just want to make sure that I am getting those messages. If they're there. Huh, I don't think there are messages. Okay, so that looks good. So nothing weird happening with OBS today. So that's kind of good. Alright. So anyway, um, I'm mixing up my uh, blue wash, and so this is kind of interesting because I know if you all have been following some of my previous posts, um, I'm testing a lot of dyes in doing on fiber and yarn, and I'm such a recipe follower for that. Uh, and I kind of want to know the right depth of shade, the right percentage of different colors I'm mixing in to get the right shade I want. Like, I'm being so picky about the whole process, and so many dyers I know don't follow that. They're like, oh, we just know, and I'm sure it's all experience, but I don't have the experience. And now, when if somebody was trying to learn something in clay, um, and be watching me, they'll be going like, oh, how come you don't have a recipe for your wash? It's going to turn out different every time. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It's you know I have the experience. I know exactly what I'm doing, so it's fine. So a lot of the stuff uh, is based on experience. My actual glaze recipes, they are very strict formulations. That's pure chemistry. I cannot mess around with that and be like, oh, let me just add a little bit of this and a little bit of that. No, for that, the glaze needs to be functional. It needs to be dishwasher, microwave safe, food safe. So those recipes I don't mess with. This is basically a color shade which gets under the glaze. So this I can play around with, which is what I like. There are no very strict rules I need to follow for it. So when I do a wash, what happens is I get these dark and light spots. So even if I had a particular recipe, it would be so much dependent on how um, how I even wiped it down, or how quick I wiped it down. Did I wipe it down after it dried up, or did I wipe it down right after applying the color. So there are so many variables even like that. So even if I did have a very strict recipe, it wouldn't really matter. Hi Nancy, I'm putting glaze on my face. That's what I'm doing today. So I am busy glazing today, and then after I'm done glazing, I am going to be flying up some yarn. How are you doing today, Nancy? So one of them is going to be green, one of them is going to be blue, and for both of them I do a blue wash underneath the green and the blue because it looks nice. So even though both of them I'm painting blue, uh, one of them is going to be a green yarn bowl with, you can see the lace texture pattern on the piece. So do you underglaze your bisqueware and fire them, or do you glaze after? Do you underglaze your bisqueware? So I do both things. Oh, your back surgery is tomorrow. Well, I hope it goes well. Regarding your question about underglazing, when do I do underglaze? Right now, what I'm doing here is applying underglaze to bisqueware, and I'm going to wipe it down, and I'm going to apply the glaze, regular glaze over it. Some pieces, I'll show you right now, like this olive tray platter out here. Let me show it in that view. This one I applied the underglaze when the clay was still on the wet stage, and then I whisk fired it. And there are some pieces which I currently don't have, but in that there was an underglaze which was applied when the clay was wet, then it was whisk fired, and there was underglaze applied after it was whisk fired, then fired, then again fired at this temperature, then there was another underglaze applied, and then an overall glaze applied, and then fired. You're knitting like crazy. That's good. Yeah, done with your set. I'm kind of like that. Like these days, I am on this complete spinning spree. I've been spinning non-stop, and I don't think I've ever spun so much fiber back to back. It's like I do one and then I start another one, and it's like one project after another. I'm just making yarn, and usually I don't even ply yarns together, but this time I'm spinning it, plying it, calling it done, moving on to the next. And I'm also dyeing a lot of fiber, so I'm going like, oh, I dyed this. Let me see how it spins up. So I spin it up, make the yarn, and go like, oh, okay, I would change this, and then I dye some more fiber, spin that up, see what happens. So it's weird, and it's good to keep busy, and especially if you have surgery coming. Like, keep yourself distracted is the best way. Surgery will happen, everything will be fine, but you just don't want to be thinking about it. So knit as much as you want. No one is going to question you. Okay, so now this is like the blue underglaze that's applied, but then it's going to get washed out, and you'll see the pattern and texture much better on that. Let's see. These big jumbo mugs. Let's just do the whole thing in one color. I usually like to do gradients in these as well, but sometimes one color is good. Am I out of view on the people on Instagram? See, that's the reason. I have like three cameras I need to worry about. So I keep keep wondering which camera I am in view and which one I'm not. So got that. Let's do this one in a blue wash as well. Your big bag of cotton yarn that you have saved for a year and you're finally getting to do a project with. Sort of multimedia sweater. Oh, that'll be fun. Oh, with patterned ribbon trim. Wow, that sounds so much more interesting than anything I've heard in a long time. I don't even actually work with cotton yarn unless, well, I've made a dishcloth, a crochet dishcloth. That's that's my extent of working with cotton yarn. And it was actually a project which I was learning to crochet on. So it wasn't even like, very fancy. It was just a regular granny square, which is fine. You can have simple, regular stuff too. So let me just make sure. Okay, all of those are done with blue. Now I need the purple underglaze. I have some now crochet projects I need to work on. There is one blanket and which is a very complex blanket that's made out of acrylic yarn. It's a Jane Crow pattern, and you have great fondness for a oh, chun red, yes, depending on the thickness. Oh yes, I know. I have played with chun red, and I have also lost a few pieces because of chun red, because that thing runs like nobody's business. Because you get these really cool effects if it is thick and thin, and like the thickness is so it's so dependent on the thickness, and I kind of wanted like a nice deep red, so I applied it really thick, but then it runs as well, and got very close to ruining the shelves. Not a fun thing, but yeah. Yeah, I've never knit with cotton yarn. Like I told you, I crocheted that granny square, and I've woven with some cotton yarn. Uh, but that's true. If it was cotton yarn sweater, you could kind of wear it for in the summer too if you wanted. Like I know my wife has one cotton sweater, a commercial cotton sweater that she really likes, and I don't know. I've never even thought about knitting with cotton. I should. Okay, that's a purple wash going on that. Another purple wash. Yeah, surprise elements are always good. That's what we like to. But yeah, that chun red thing is, and it was like when I was just learning how to do pottery, and it was one of the glazes that was in the uh, for what students could use, but it had this big warning sticker on it saying that don't put it on anything that's very precious, because until you have tested out a few times, because that thing runs. and the ruined shelves, and you always had to fire chun red on a piece of tile. Those were the rules. The cotton you're using has a tiny bit of stretch. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think the other cotton kind of yarn that I have used is Kobasi, which is cotton bamboo silk. It's a skesser yarn, and I've knit socks out of it, and it feels very much like sock yarn, and it also has some elastic in it. So it has that stretchiness that it actually feels like a wool stretchy yarn, but it's actually only cotton, bamboo, and silk, and neither of those actually have a stretch in them, but it has elastic in it as well. So it has that bounce. So I like that yarn. I haven't used it for like a sweater or a big project like that, but I've made socks out of them. I thought that, oh, cotton socks in summer, that would be nice, but I wear socks all year round and I'm fine wearing woolen socks. Like even now I'm wearing woolen socks. I like my wool socks. I need to make socks for my wife. She recently, one of her favorite socks developed a hole in them. So I could darn it, but we shall see if I feel up to that. Okay, so it's done in purple. Done, 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 done. Only washes are left. Next thing I want to do is do some accent colors. Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, sweaters, that's what the thing is, because everything is in parts. You kind of need to keep track of what is there and when, and especially if you're moving and it's gone in a box, which you don't know which it is. And I'm sure you'll find it at some point. And then you might wonder, if it's after many, many years, you might wonder, when did I, what is this? So, yeah, I wash my hand knit socks in the washing machine too. I don't tumble dry them, I just air dry them. Or you have a air dry setting on your dryer. Yeah, I don't. So I think my machine, I know accidentally I have dried socks in my washing machine. I mean, in my dryer, and it's been fine. But as a general rule, once they actually spin out from the washing machine, the socks, everything like wool, it just expels that water and it just dries pretty quickly. So I have no problem just laying it out for a few hours and it's completely dry. Or we put it in one of our guest room gets really warm, so we just put all our laundry out there to dry. And that, hey Juan, I am glazing today. I'm talking to some people on Facebook as well as Instagram, all over the place. Only knits with a bit of nylon, yeah. Yeah, even my socks, that's my favorite blend. Wool and nylon for socks. And I have a sock knitting machine as well, which I plan to use for this next pair I was talking about. But we shall see when that will happen. For some reason, I've not been in a very sock machine knitting mode. I've been just in such a spinning mode. Like, I can't wait to be done with all this glazing, that I can go ahead and ply my yarn, because I promised myself that uh, I need to finish this before I finish that. Otherwise, this will never get done. And I'm hoping either tomorrow afternoon or Friday morning, I'll be able to do kiln unloading where you will see all these pieces come out from the kiln. So that is what the plan is. None have been hot washed. Yeah. That is a nice setting to have in a dryer though, the air dry setting. So it's not like a tumble dry, I guess. How big of a kiln do I have? I have two electric kilns. All my firings are done in the electric kiln. I use one of them for bisfire and one of them for glaze, so I could have, you know, interchange them too. Or sometimes when I'm getting close to show season and I have a lot of stuff to glaze, I'll use both of them for glazing. One of them is just older and the other one is newer, but they both have been touchwood working very well. I have, I change elements on my kiln every year. Um, the amount of firings I do, the elements do wear out, and they are 7 cubic feet each, which is just the right size for me. Means a bigger kiln would be better because then I can pack more things in it. But it's also a disadvantage when you are trying to fire a few pieces and you cannot because you really need to fill up the kiln with all this other stuff. And the kilns I have and I highly recommend uh, people is the LNL kilns. They are the ones with the element holders, and that's what I love the most about them. So, so I'm just putting all these um, color accents on these mugs. This is going to be glazed blue, and the blue and black really make a very nice accent. So each one of these is hand painted on this way. So no two pieces land up being exactly alike. They can be similar. There, so that's the mug design. Yes, my electric bill does get very crazy. The highest cone setting, it can get up to cone 10, but I fire to cone 6. So it's still pretty expensive to fire the kiln. We actually have the smallest house in our cul-de-sac, and we keep getting warning letters from our electric company that we need to figure out why our electric consumption is so high. And I said, there's nothing to figure out. I run kilns, so I run a business, so firings are going to be more. Which came first, knitting, spinning, or ceramics? Definitely ceramics. I have been working with clay since 2001, 2001, and started selling my work 2003. 2 years back, we did 15-year anniversary of my selling ceramics, and and the first half of my ceramic career, I was also in IT. doing software programming, and 2011 is when I quit that, and I've been doing ceramics full time since 2011. So it's been 9 years doing it full time, and the knitting, spinning, weaving, and all the fiber crafts that came about around 6 years back. Yeah, around 6 years back. And yeah, I have absolutely loved the journey, and I like how those two worlds have kind of mixed together. That sometimes people have to ask me which one came first. Uh, but yeah, and like even earlier, before the knit patterns and all appeared on my work, they were mostly all the embroidery patterns, like these kinds, which are all inspired by Indian fabrics and embroidery. So it was still always fabric oriented work, but it wasn't until I started knitting, then I started making my own fabric, and I was like, oh, I need to get those textures on my pieces. So that's how the knit patterns, which are like this guy, started coming into my work. So it's all done with whatever I was working on, whatever excited me at that time, and that's what you started seeing in my work. And every time I picked up a new fiber craft, more stuff started coming in. You're going to ask what clay you use. Uh, yeah, so the clay I use is also stoneware, but I I would imagine it sounds quite a bit like your San Jose white, because it's almost porcelain like, but it's not like a stoneware like a regular stoneware. Uh, it is all it fires to like a creamish white color, and the glazes look nice. And yes, I do make yarn bowls. This is one of the finished ones actually. I make them out of slabs, and they have two yarn cutouts on the side. So this is one size which I do, which can hold like, uh, hi Lucy, how are you? And so yeah, this holds like two yarn balls as well. But if you want like a center pull one, I think I have some glazed ones inside, but these round ones, these are yarn balls as well. You can put like a yarn cake inside and pull out a center pull ball from inside, um, and do that. Yeah, this is not gritty as stoneware clay. So that's the reason why I like it. And plus, I don't like that very bright white finish of electric fired work. So I that's the reason why I like this color. It makes it slightly creamish color, and my glaze colors still look good. Well, I'm glad, Lucy, you could join in and see how things are happening. I'm actually glazing right now on. Let me shift the camera so you can see what I've been up to so far. The view on Instagram is not all that great because you know I'm doing it on my phone, but I'm also relaying this on Facebook and YouTube, and I have a multiple camera set up for that, so you can see an overview, bird's eye view of what's going on. Well, I kind of have to be, Susan, but thanks for acknowledging that. Yeah, I try to be as productive as I can. It's a clay or anything, right? When you're working as a business, it's kind of hard to make just one piece. It's not effective. It's not efficient. So I like to make as many pieces as I can. I can't fire one piece in the kiln. I need to make all these pieces to fire at the same time. Yeah, center pull balls are uh, their own craziness. I'm not very fond of them as well. I actually prefer to get yarn in cones or wind them on cones and get them from the outside. What these yarn bowls help in, if you're doing center pull, is like you can keep your yarn cakes in there, and every time you want to move your project or anything, you can just carry your yarn bowl and move it around, so you're not squishing your cake and losing the integrity of the center pull, because that's what causes the tangles. So in that way this helps, but it's still a center pull ball, which everyone has mixed feelings of whether you like it or you hate it. It's amazing. I've never watched my stream before. How are you coping without the live shows? Lucy, this is my live show. You're at my live show. I know the last show I did was where I met you at Stitches in California. And after that, I was scheduled to go for Vogue Knitting in Seattle, which is a local show for me. That didn't happen. And since then, I've been at home, and what I've been doing is putting a live stream in my studio while I make work, glaze, while I spin, while I knit, while I do some sewing projects, when I'm weaving in ends of my projects, whatever I do, I just go live, so I can still have company of my customers and my online friends, and we can just sit and chat and talk about stuff. So I need to just wash up this bowl and get a clean sponge. I'll be right back. All right. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Dilpreet. Watching me in action. I hope it is entertaining. Or you're wondering why is he spending so much time doing this? Yeah, it's always good to wind your own yarn too. How is everything going, Alicia? Are you enjoying your new crochet dishes you got? And I think I saw Patrice on Facebook maybe, and her messages just kind of went. So, but I did see her name, so I think she's online too. The incense burners. So this is a very funny story about these. These are olive trays. This is what you're referring to. They are pretty huge for incense burners. But when I first introduced these kinds of trays, I did make incense burners, and they were smaller in size because it would be the size of. Hi Petri, so good. Okay, I did see you online. But yeah, they were the smaller size to hold your incense, but everyone asked me if they were for olives. So then I started making longer one for olives, and now everyone looks at the longer olive trays and asks me if they are incense burners. So they are both. Yes, it's the Madrona gang meetup. We are all here. See, it's just like doing a show, Lucy, except that I cannot be charging people's credit cards. But this is, I'm, I'm thankful for the technology that we can hang out and chit chat during this time of quarantine. And I was talking to somebody else during live chat the other day, and I said this when I started working in clay. I started working, in a co-op where I took classes, and then I became a member, and we all shared common studio space, shared equipment, and that kind of stuff. And this kind of started feeling like that like I was working, watching somebody else weave, and there was another live stream going on with somebody knitting, and I had one thing playing on my big screen TV, the other thing playing on my phone, and I was working myself, and it felt like we were all in this co-op, and all artists just working together, giving each other company. So it was fun. I'm enjoying seeing how you apply color. Yeah, so I actually painted on all the underglaze on my pieces. So that's like the first coat that goes on. And now once it's dry, I take a sponge and I wipe it off from the high areas of the lace. And you can see this is probably your favorite color too, right? The purple. So now you can see, so this is how it looks without the washing, and once it's washed the texture and pattern like really pops out. You love the purple, yeah. I know, Alicia, you're a purple person too. So that is what makes a big difference. And like I was talking about earlier, the washes that I do, I don't have a very fixed formulation for them. Like I use the purple and the blue, but they are made out of underglazes. But I changed the recipe of my underglazes, so it's almost like always slightly going to be different than what you see before, or maybe it might be exactly the same. And I kind of like to do it so that my pieces are unique. Yes, purple rules. You know, I started doing purple only after I started knitting because all the knitters, that's all they kept asking for. Growing your digital presence on all platforms is the next step. Yes. Yeah. I have been on digital platforms for a while. I was doing live feeds even before this whole quarantine thing, but I was just not very regular at it. So now, yeah, I am now, since shows are not happening and I cannot chat with my customers, I was like, you know, might as well do this. And then it's fun when I do the kiln opening, everyone can see what's coming out of the kiln, and yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Lucy, are you done with your travels? I haven't checked your Facebook posts recently, but I I think I must have glanced by your knitting and again gone like, oh, this might be a good time to start a double knit project. So another purple big jumbo mug. And also you can see with the whole wiping technique, sometimes I like to be aggressive, sometimes not so much. And uh, every time it gives a different effect. And I think that's why, Alicia, you have trouble choosing which mug is your favorite of mine, because you see something on, like while I'm glazing, you see it coming out of the kiln, and then when you see it in person, it's or on Instagram, and then when you see it on person, the same mug looks different because it's different light, different color, different process, and you finally know the one which you want. Speedy stop. Love that description. Yeah. Yep. Travel came to a speedy stop. That's for sure. That is actually the best way to describe it. Yes, it's very handmade, and I think that those surprises is what makes each piece unique. I could be very precise about it too, but then what's the fun in that? Even I need to experience the joy of opening the kiln and get excited about what's going to come out. So, and I'm fine with getting some disappointments. But again, it's like sometimes I would be like, oh, I wish the color was darker. But there are people who go like, oh, I like the light color. I don't like such concentrated colors. So that works too. You returned from New Zealand March 13th. Cancelled your 3 month. Oh, it was 3 months long what you had planned. But you're in Tamcook. Yeah, I think I saw your post on Tamcook, so I was wondering. Hmm. Oh, and you have Wi-Fi. Okay, well that's good. So now you can watch my live feeds. So underglaze, wipe down, and clear glaze. Yes and no. The glaze that I put over the pieces is not a complete clear glaze, as you have seen my work, and Patrice, you have some of my pieces now. That the glaze that I apply on it also has color in it. So even though I have the same blue underglaze, it might be under my blue glaze, or it under my green glaze, or under my honey glaze. That this blue is going to look different because of that. But my glaze is a very translucent glaze. So even though it has color in it, it does not cover up the undercolor in it, the underglaze. So so it's not a completely clear glaze. I consider clear glaze as something that's just clear with no color in it. Yes. Well, I'm glad you got your Wi-Fi so you can watch my feed. And next time around, or even now if you like, you can go on Facebook and watch it, or on YouTube. I have links on my Instagram profile, and there you'll get a better view of what I'm doing uh, because I have a bird's eye view camera. There is a camera right there which points to the whole table where everything is getting decorated. So Instagram kind of lets me do only one tiny view. Hello, CC. I'm sorry because my phone is so far away. I have trouble reading names or comments sometimes. But we make it work, right? Yeah, the Facebook has a better view of the product table. It's because I can have multiple cameras and you can even see me talking and see the whole view. Yeah, check it out. You have to go now. Okay. Well, it was nice chatting with you, Lucy. I look forward to you doing some live posts as well. It'll be nice to uh, watch you live and chit chat while I'm knitting or spinning. That's what has been the best uh, thing we can do these days. It's have our own knit nights at whatever time we want. Don't have to dress up and go anywhere. So I look forward to seeing you. Oh, my picture in picture is tiny. Yeah, on Facebook it is tiny. Uh, I could reverse it. I could have me as big and then the product table, but I have to kind of make a choice. I can even do a half and half split screen. But with every time I do a setting like that, I need to change my setup and all of that. So it gets a little annoying. So I kind of have set it up where the camera through which you see me is tiny, but you get a bigger view of the product table. Yes, you can go ahead and purchase pieces off my website, creativewithclay.com. Some pieces I have in stock and I've already listed, so you can do that. or you can place an order for uh, under the made to order listings as well. If there are few pieces out here, most of them are made to order. They are for custom orders, but there are few extras as well. So those will get listed on the website as soon as they come out from the kiln, which is tomorrow or day after. And tomorrow, I'm actually going to be doing a live feed with Laura Litterman. Uh, so yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to be doing a live feed with Laura from Knit Girls, and there are usually 80 to 100 people who land up coming on her live feeds. So if you are on, if you do want to place an order, there since there are going to be so many people, I expect some sales also happening. Uh, if you do like something, place an order sooner than later, because then it would have to be a made to order item, and that can take up to 3 to 4 weeks at least. But yeah, if I have stuff in stock and I fill orders in the order that they were placed. Yes, tell your husband that this is what you want. You need something for your back surgery, right? To make you feel good. So tomorrow at 11, no, at 10 a.m. my time, Pacific time, is where we're going to be doing a live. It's going to be like a one-on-one chat on Instagram. It's going to be only on Instagram where we'll be chatting, and I'll be showing some of my work, my studio. We'll be talking about knitting, spinning, whatever. And it's going to be just a 1 hour chat, but there are so many people who join in, and I've been enjoying her live chats. So she's probably live right now chatting with somebody else. But yeah, tomorrow it's scheduled with me, so definitely go check that. But yeah, it's going to get busy. Oh, AM morning. So if you go online now and you see something that you like, and if it is ready to ship, I would recommend just placing an order right now. My screen name on Instagram is my name, Charan Sachar, no spaces. So you can find me there, and definitely follow me. When is your back surgery? Is that tomorrow as well? I thought you said it's tomorrow. So yeah, I need to do a post about that to remind people that I am going to be live tomorrow as well. Yes, it is 10 a.m. Pacific time. I know these days I'm a night owl, so it could have been 10 p.m. too, but no, it is in the morning, which I think is 2 p.m. her time. 7:30 first case of the day. Oh, so your surgery is 7:30 in the morning Mountain Time, which would make it like 5:30 Pacific. I think 5:30 or 6:30 Pacific. I think 6:30 Pacific. So, so yeah. Maybe if you're not very drugged up and stuff, you can still watch me live on Instagram. In either case, you need to tell your husband to get you something to make you feel good. I think that's a given. So here's a big blue platter. So this, like, I want you all to see it before. Hi, Elena. I finally finished spinning my yarn. Well, I have to ply it still, but I finished my flies, my singles. A mug or two will make you feel great. I agree. See, it makes your day, right, Patrice? So, so see, after I have washed it, you can really see that texture. Isn't that beautiful? There, I'll show you on that camera. So, this is going to get glazed as well. Uh, yeah, I think I'm going to do the kiln unloading on Friday because right now it's like 11:35. Even if I do finish glazing all of them in the next 2 hours, it's not going to be ready to unload by noon tomorrow. So Friday morning I'll unload the kiln and update what's going to be going live. But there are already some items on the website that are ready to ship. Yes, the 20-ounce mugs are very popular, and uh, I have like self-striping mugs in the jumbo size, uh, and these lace mugs that I have out here, these guys are also the big jumbo size. One of them is going to be green, one blue, one purple, and in the jumbo knit size mug, I'm going to have one honey, one green, and one blue extra after this firing is done. These are not available currently because they have not gone in the kiln. But so if you want to place an order for a jumbo knit mug, honey, green, or blue, I can glaze them in that color and it will ship out sooner than what the made to order turnaround time says. So, anyway. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. Good luck, Nancy, on your surgery. Hope everything goes well and you're feeling amazing after that. And hope you get something for yourself, for your husband, or a husband gets for you, and you can enjoy your morning coffees together in one of my mugs. So, anyway, but most importantly, hope your surgery goes well, everything goes fine and super. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Bye. You're trying to figure out how to fit a whole pot of tea in a container that keeps it warm. So, I'll tell you one more thing, Nancy, before I sign out. These big jumbo mugs, they are 20 ounces, so they hold a lot of liquid, but because they are wider at the base, they hold heat very well. And I also sell small dishes which you will see them listed on my website. Let me grab one and show you. Those small dishes work very well as lids for my mugs. So these small dishes, they work very well as lids for the mugs, and and they work on all the different sizes. Even they fit the big jumbo mugs. So it's something to consider if he wants a really warm cup of coffee all the way till the end. So think about it, or a warm cup of tea in your case. And I'll show you the self-striping mug I have as well. So these are the big jumbo self-striping mug in 3 colors. So you can get one of those dishes to use as a lid to keep your beverage warm. Alright, well, I got to go. Thank you for joining again. Best luck for your surgery. Take care.